Okay, let's talk about Venezuela. It's a real head-scratcher, right? How can a country sitting on more oil than literally anyone else on the planet just completely fall apart? That's the paradox we're going to dig into.
And it really all starts with this one absolutely staggering number, 303 billion. That's barrels of oil, just sitting there under the ground. We're talking about enough black gold to keep a country rich for, I don't know, centuries.
And just so we're crystal clear here, this isn't just a lot of oil. This is the largest proven reserve in the world. Yeah, you heard that right. More than Saudi Arabia, more than Canada, more than anyone. So that leads us right back to the big, blinking question mark. With all that incredible wealth, why is the country an absolute mess? Why is it collapsing into poverty and chaos? All right, so to really get how it all went so wrong, we've got to rewind the clock. Let's go back and look at the before picture. When Venezuela wasn't just doing okay, it was one of the richest places on the planet. And the foundation for all that money? It was just immense. I mean, look at this. Venezuela wasn't just playing in the same league as other oil giants, it was the all-star team. They basically won the geological lottery, plain and simple.
So the whole story really kicks off back in 1922 with this massive oil discovery. And from there, wow. By the 1950s, the country was rocketed into the ranks of the global elite. For decades, it was seen as this beacon of stability and wealth in Latin America. And a huge piece of this puzzle was its relationship with the United States. It was this perfect win-win friendship. U.S. companies got the oil they needed, Venezuela got the cash. And the location? A dream. Think about it. A tanker from the Middle East might take a month to get to the U.S. A tanker from Venezuela, 5 to 7 days. That's a massive advantage.
And this wealth wasn't just some abstract number on a spreadsheet. No, it was real. It created this wild consumer culture. I love this quote from one of the sources. It says that Venezuelans were so well off that flying to Miami for a weekend shopping spree was just a normal thing to do. Can you imagine?
But you know how these stories go. That golden age, it was about to come to a very, very dramatic end. The entire country was teetering on the edge of a massive change, and it was all going to be driven by one man, Hugo Chavez. So in 1999, Chavez comes onto the scene, and he just sweeps into power. He tapped into this feeling that, yeah, the country was rich, but that wealth wasn't trickling down. A lot of poor folks felt completely forgotten, and he positioned himself as their champion, promising to be the voice of the common man. And his message was incredibly powerful and really simple. He basically said, hey, look, this is our oil, but all the profits are being snatched up by American companies. I'm going to take that money back, and I'm going to give it to you. It was a classic Robin Hood pitch. And his plan was pretty straightforward. You could break it down into 3 steps. Step 1, get the people on your side with that big promise of redistributing the wealth. Step 2, seize control. Take the oil operations away from all those foreign companies. And step 3, redirect the profits. Funnel all that oil money into social programs and subsidies for the people. Now, you have to understand, this wasn't just some minor policy tweak. This was a massive, high-stakes gamble with the entire economic engine of the country. And, as you can probably guess, the consequences were going to be huge. So, that old 50-50 deal that made Venezuela so rich, gone, ripped up. In 2007, Chavez basically drew a line in the sand for the foreign oil companies. He said, you either give us a 60% controlling stake or you can pack your bags and leave. And you know what? A lot of them packed their bags. But it got worse. It wasn't just about kicking out foreign companies. To cement his control, Chavez reportedly fired like 18,000 professional experts overnight. We're talking engineers, geologists, managers, literally the brains of the operation, the people who actually knew how to get the oil out of the ground. And who did he replace them with? Political loyalists. And here's the crazy part. For a little while, it actually looked like this insane gamble was working. He got a lucky break. Global oil prices started to skyrocket. So even though the industry was being mismanaged, the money kept pouring in. In fact, revenues more than doubled. It created this total illusion of success. And what we're seeing here is a textbook case of something economists call the resource curse. It's this paradox where having a ton of a valuable resource, like oil, can actually end up wrecking your economy. Instead of using all that money to build other industries, Venezuela just went all in on oil. Their greatest asset became their Achilles heel.
Okay, so fast forward to today. The oil industry is a wreck, the economy is in free fall. So why is Venezuela still so important? Why does the rest of the world, especially the US, still care so much? Well, it all boils down to geopolitics.
And you might be thinking, wait a minute, didn't the US have that whole shale boom? Aren't they the top oil producer now? And you'd be right. So why does what happens in Venezuela still matter so much?
Well, there are really three big reasons. First is the type of oil. A lot of U.S. refineries down on the Gulf Coast were specifically built to process Venezuela's heavy, sludgy crude oil. It's not something you can just easily swap out. Second, remember, it's not just about oil. The country is sitting on billions in gold, diamonds, and coltan. That's the stuff in your smartphone. And the third reason? It's all about preventing rivals from setting up shop in America's backyard.
And that's not just some abstract fear. It's already happening. China has loaned Venezuela over $60 billion, which they're paying back in oil. So China has a huge stake there. At the same time, Russia and Iran are sending over military hardware. Suddenly, this isn't just an economic collapse. It's a major strategic headache for the U.S.
So when you step back and look at the whole picture, the tragedy of Venezuela isn't that it was poor. It's the opposite. The crucial point here is that its incredible, immense wealth is what created the conditions for the bad choices that ultimately led to its ruin.
And if there's one key lesson to take away from the sources here, it's this, and it's pretty stark. Trying to distribute wealth without actually creating any wealth, well, that's just a recipe for disaster. It's economic suicide.
Which really leaves us with this one final haunting question. The whole story of Venezuela feels like a cautionary tale for the 21st century. It makes you wonder, can a country's greatest gift, its biggest blessing, actually turn out to be its ultimate curse?